What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of Whatispodcast, the show where every week 3 best friends and you come together to talk games, shows, movies, and tech. I'm one of your hosts, Patrick Jovez. Alongside me, I have everyone's best friend, Byron. Who the hell is Byron?
I'm the new Byron.
Byron Roar.
It's his evil twin.
Is this evil with a mustache?
He's got like a scar over his eye. You know.
Oh my god, Byron Roar. That's a new one.
That sounds way more badass, so I like it.
No,
Dr.
Dude,
Byron Roar.
You gotta have a different,
What's
you
up?
gotta have like an evil voice, Byron.
Yeah.
Ew. That just sounds
Smoker voice.
sounds sexy.
I'm kind of turned up.
So, Byron, how was your week?
Good.
Yeah?
It's been pretty good. Yeah, I've just been enjoying my my time being able to play some games.
Well, yeah,
and
what today?
I didn't have to work today.
Oh, that's why you're
That's why I'm here early.
all undressed and
Yeah.
ready to go.
So it was a nice, easy day today.
That's cool. So wait, is it like a rotating schedule or?
Yeah, for the most part. It
Oh,
kind of rotates. Some days they don't need me.
That's cool. Wait, today's Sunday?
Today's
No,
Friday.
Today's
Or
Thursday.
Thursday. Today's Thursday.
Friday. Today's Thursday. Okay. Well, anyways, you guys are going to be listening to this on Tuesday. And
It's
of course,
Tuesday.
rounding out the Trinity. Jesus Christ. Magically, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Rounding out the Trinity, we have our very own rock star, Mr. Ryan McGeary.
How's it going, guys?
I should have
Good
just
to talk
called
to
you Byron McGeary.
Yeah, you should have. You should have. You messed up.
Everybody's Byron.
Think about it. Who are the 5 best rappers in the world? Byron. Holy crap.
Oh,
How's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. Like I was saying, I got a bunch of cool new toys for my Native SF project, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Got like this
Yeah.
crazy Zeppelin like dead cat thing that blocks out all wind, and I got a bunch of transmitters. The photography store that we rent some of our gear from is going out of business, so I snatched up some of the old rental used gear for hella
Ooh,
cheap, so
very
I'm stoked
nice.
on that too.
Yeah, you smash it. You smash it real hard.
Smash it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show with our first segment we like to call Game Time. Alright guys, as you guys know, we like to start off the segment talking about what games you should not miss out on because they're free for PlayStation and Xbox One. Don't forget, you still have time to pick up Little Big Planet 3 and Not a Hero for PS4, Star Wall and Anna for PS3, Ninja Senki DX and Torque L for PS Vita, also for cross-buy. Xbox One, don't forget you have Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, Project Cars Digital Edition from February 16th to March 15th, and for 360, Monkey Island 2 Special Edition. Okay, that one's a little gone. That's long gone. So if you haven't picked it up by now, you're shit out of luck. And February 16th till the 28th, you can get your hands on Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. All right, guys. Quick bit of news. We actually have a couple of things. So first one is Nintendo wants to make 2 to 3 mobile games a year.
Interesting.
Now we seen them dabble in mobile games recently. I think what was their first one? It was like Miitomo, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone download that? I didn't go for it.
I tried to get into the beta for it. I think I got an email, but I actually never checked it out because I was reading an article that doesn't really do much.
Really do much.
Yeah.
Right? It's like just I don't know. You can connect with friends and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I feel
mean,
like if anyone could pull it off, Nintendo could, but I'm hesitant to hear the word mobile game from any large, video game company.
I mean, their next one that like just was huge was Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
And that was great. It was a phenomenon.
It got
They're
an
coming
update,
out
y'all.
coming out with new Jonto stuff, aren't they?
It's already out.
Yeah, it's already out.
What? Okay, I gotta start playing.
Yeah,
it.
80 new Pokemons.
Yeah, I should get like unlimited data so I could just run around. But yeah, so they want to make 2 to 3 mobile games a year. So I think the next one planned, they were in talks for like Fire Emblem, like it was Fire Emblem, right? And then they also have something, I think it's help me out here, it's like
Super
the new
Mario.
Leaf. Super Mario Run came out.
Yeah.
Then I think they were talking about Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing, which that would be pretty cool. Never played Animal Crossing, but I know people. It's like It's a life simulator game, and I love The Sims on computer, so
Mm-hmm.
that sounds actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about it, I think, us as a group, I know Patrick and I think Ryan, you'd agree too. When it comes to handheld games and portable stuff, we like kind of more console portable experiences rather than these short, kind of bites of entertainment. So if Nintendo can bring some better experiences to the mobile market for games, I'd definitely be down for that.
And I feel like that's, again, like I was saying, Nintendo's, if anyone could pull it off, Nintendo could. They're really good at making things kind of like really addicting in a really simple way. Like, just they're so focused on gameplay. So I think if like Microsoft's like, we're going to put out like 5 mobile games a year, it wouldn't be as intriguing as Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
Well, I think Nintendo strikes that nostalgia with everyone too, whereas, I mean, Xbox does have their characters, like their flagship characters and stuff like that, but nothing can quite like
it would be a lot.
To,
it'd be a lot harder to make a mobile Halo game than it is to make a mobile Mario game. Like the IPs that they have are so much more friendly for that kind of format.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more exciting to hear it coming from Nintendo for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, and some more news. Ubisoft has been working on a VR game for PlayStation VR.
Ooh.
It's an Assassin's Creed universe, and it's called Da Vinci's Workshop.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's what it's called, but you're gonna be in Da Vinci's Workshop, probably just messing around with whatever he created
for you.
But this isn't a full game, is it?
I'm pretty sure it's one of these like bite-sized experiences.
Yeah.
Kind of like
it's gonna be like the Battlefront, like Star Wars or the X-wing fighter kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something
side mission DLC, whatever.
Yeah, or like Tomb Raider VR, or it's kind of like
mansion
view stuff.
Yeah, look how pretty this game engine is.
Yeah, I mean it's cool though to have a huge name publisher. Or developer try to
embrace
make something
it
for VR.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a plus for all you VR owners out there. I'm probably not gonna get it, but
PlayStation
I like that someone's trying to create something for us. More news: Nintendo Switch. What the Switch? Nintendo Switch had a leaked operating system. What the Switch?
With the Switch.
Yeah. So this article comes by IGN. The Nintendo Switch operating system leaked like the menu details, and they show off like storage space, menu music, and like kind of like you could create different. So when you create like profiles, they have like different avatars from Nintendo's long history of video game mascots. And one of the more notable aspects of the video is the system revealed internal storage space, which is listed as only 25.9 gigs. Nintendo has previously said the system will have 32 gigs of internal memory, though Nintendo has said the Switch will support up to 2 terabytes of micro SD-C cards, end quote. So yeah, we know about the upgradable storage and stuff like that, but it seems like whatever is on the system day one takes up almost like 6 or 7 gigs of memory.
Yeah, I mean, we see that a lot with kind of SD cards and internal memory on our phones when they say, like, oh, you have 8 gigs, and you check and you're only at like 6.8 because the operating system takes a certain amount. And of course, when they format the memory, it has to include a certain amount too for like updates and stuff that it can't let you touch. So we usually see less than the number on the box. But that's kind of scary. I mean, 32 was already not a lot to begin with. And so if you're realistically only getting 25 to work with, you're probably going to be buying a micro SD card on launch. So that's an extra expenditure.
Yeah, that was
it's not
one of those things
anymore.
where we talked about it. I think episode 3 or 4 was like one of those extra features. Like
it's just extra cost to the system, right?
Yeah. And that kind of sucks.
Although I suppose it's kind of a double standard because 500 gigs isn't even that much for like an Xbox or a PlayStation nowadays, and that's kind of the standard. It's obviously way more than 32 or 64, whatever it is, right?
Yeah,
but it's still not that much, I mean, that's probably 10 games, and then you have to start deleting stuff.
Yeah.
So
well, it also depends if you get Legend of Zelda, because that's supposed to be huge. But
right,
we'll see. We're gonna keep an eye on the Nintendo Switch. I'm gonna keep like close eye personally because it's just weird going into this because it seems like a lot of people are kind of down on the Switch, but the pre-order sales say otherwise because you can't pre-order this thing anymore. And it's just going to be very interesting when March 3rd hits. So we'll keep an eye on that. And closing out the news, Resident Evil 7 is the best-selling game of January 2017.
It beat, what was it, nice. 2.8 HD?
Yeah, and that it even beat Grand Theft Auto 5, which sells like crazy. Like GTA's are usually at the top of the sales list.
That still blows my mind. This game is so old now, and it's still just like.
Well, I think it's because of the mod community.
Yeah, play on PC.
Because when you play on PC, you can make a game last forever.
Yeah. And, I mean, you look at the Skyrim mods, right, and you're just like, people are still playing. Not even the special, even before the special edition came out. Like people were playing Skyrim still. Like 5 years later, because like you could be Spider-Man killing dragons. Like it's just so silly.
Yeah.
Have Thomas the engine raining down from the sky. Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is another article that I pulled from IGN. It says, quote, the release of Resident Evil 7 helped push overall sales numbers up for the month 14% higher than last January. Wow. However, hardware spending saw a 19% decline versus January 2016, down to 127 million. But yeah, like the top selling best games of the US, according to the NPD group, is Resident Evil 7, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Grand Theft Auto 5, Battlefield 1, NBA 2K17, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, Jesus Christ, Madden NFL 17, Watch Dogs 2, Overwatch, and FIFA 17.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's the top 10 selling games. But yeah, like we said, the modded when we're talking about like
the community,
the mod
community, and then you could just like keep going on and on. Like that's pretty cool. That like I know we were talking about Resident Evil 7, but like GTA is such a surprising game.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get it into the hands of other people, like I wanted to get GTA 4 on my PC or on a PC just so I could have the Back to the Future mod.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Like when you hit 88 in the car, it changes the time of day and is like this. I don't know. It had all the effects and stuff. Is just so cool. But actually, switching over from that, we'll go into our topic, which is what game have you spent the most time playing?
Ooh, I think we'd all have an interesting answer for that.
Yeah, how about you go first, Brian?
Byron.
So
Byron.
Byron. Okay,
my name is Byron.
So after
gotta visualize a butterfly flying in his mouth.
After giving it some thought, I was looking at console games, and then I realized there was one game that kind of destroys all the others. And unfortunately, Cooking Mama. It was the RuneScape, that MMO. That was
throwback. Nerd alert!
Nerd. And it's nowhere near as much time as some people have put on WoW. But I did kind of the estimates, and I tried going onto my account and checking hours in game to see how much it was. But you need to be a member for RuneScape to check your adventure log. It shows you that. So I didn't want to do that. But I can definitely say, without a doubt, I mean, I played that game from the summer of 2002 to about
the winter of 2017.
When the servers finally shut down, Brian was still there.
They're still alive. They can't be
killed. They shut down in 2015, but he was still playing.
Still
somehow.
Finding a way. I played that game exclusively for a good 2.5 years, and I went from, they had a classic version of the game that they started with to a beta for 3D, fully 3D visuals, and then that became it was called RuneScape 2. Then when that was finally released, that just became what they called RuneScape, and then the original game was called Classic. I gotta say I put at least anywhere from 700 to 1,000 hours into that game alone. So that's definitely the game I've spent the most time with, and that was all on your computer. That was on your internet browser.
So it didn't count.
You spent or your parents spent $1,000 on the game?
Oh, no. I didn't. I say hours.
1,000 hours, not
dollars.
Oh,
$1,000. $1,000. I'm like, you're buying in-game currency and stuff. You're like, you're in high school. I spent all this money. Like, did you?
Yeah. So, money was $5 a month for membership. I think it might have gone up at one point. So, really didn't spend too much, $60 a year.
So you ended up like switching that over to like a Netflix or like GameFly account. Huh?
Realistically, like, yeah, what I put the money towards. But I think as a single game, that is the one game I spent the most time with. If we talk about a series, I think we all know the answer to this. Monster Hunter. There has been so many games that have come out, and I think about it. I'm not an OG vet because I didn't play it on PS2 when it first came out in 2004, but I started in 2005 on the PSP with a lot of our friends to play Freedom.
Noob,
you're not a real player. And
whatever,
you think about
Patrick.
it. I mean, we talk about it. Monster Hunter is almost like a guaranteed 200 hours of gameplay for anybody who plays it if you get into it. So if you think about it, let's see, Monster Hunter Freedom, Monster Hunter Freedom 2, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, Monster Hunter Tri, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter Generations. That's 7 games.
Dylan.
Byron, again. 7 games. I mean, that's roughly easy over 1,000 hours to 1,400 hours on a game series by itself. And the games are very similar, so you can almost see them as like one game. But
Wait,
so as a series,
if we're going
Monster
by
Hunter,
series, though, that changes my answer because
correct. So you can make that as like an honorable
whichever
mention.
way you want.
Yeah, I'd say answer with a game and then a series after. I think would be awesome. So that's mine.
okay.
So Ryan, what do you got?
What do you think, Byron? What's your
Byron?
I'm Byron. So I would say my single game, not the series, but the single game that I spent the most amount of time with just by itself was Skyrim. Skyrim, I ended up picking up from my friend Justin. I think we ended up trading games. I gave him some. I don't even remember. I gave him a game and he gave me Skyrim. And I just broke up with my girlfriend and I was on a winter break from college, so I had like 5 weeks to do nothing. And I'm not a big RPG person. Surprisingly, like I've played probably 5 different Final Fantasies and like
that's more than me.
Yeah, and I played quite a few RPGs, but the one that really sucked me in was Skyrim. I like just probably because I from when I was a little kid, I was like really into dragons and stuff. So basically, don't even get me started on dragons, guys, because I will.
He has books.
Oh my god! I can't wait to like
drawings.
We should go like speed dating one day and just have.
So,
first question: what is your favorite dragon?
Is it the
Don't answer
European
that. My
dragon?
favorite dragon.
I'm more of a Wyvern kind of guy. I'm more into Wyverns.
Do you like the Western dragons or more of the Oriental style?
Oh my god, that is so perfect.
Exactly.
Holy crap!
And what's your favorite dragon in Skyrim? Is it Alduin or is it Parthenax or yeah? That's how you get the ladies, guys. Just heads
Don't
up.
even get me started.
Who speed dates? Who does that anymore? By the way, Patrick, you're engaged. I feel like you're like the last person to be telling me like, oh, that's like, you should go speed dating and say that. Nah, bro. I'm about Tinder.
Come on, man.
No one
uses Tinder.
I'm gonna re-download Tinder and just ask girls like what their favorite if they're like more of an Alduin type of girl or a Parthenax type girl, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, I mean that game Skyrim, from the very first like 10 minutes, you are exposed to this kind of element of vulnerability, and because you're in the clutches of the Empire, and you're like, okay, this is kind of weird, it's confusing, like I don't know what's going on, I'm tied up, I'm in this cart, and all of a sudden you're about to get your head chopped off and a dragon like just kills everybody, like, and you use the chaos to escape, and like that is the beginning of Skyrim, and you are now free, and you just have this entire world in front of you, and you're like, I don't even know what's going on right now. And just the fact that they throw you in it, and just because I've always said in my head that a good movie or a TV show or a video game, any form of entertainment, if they can just throw you in it and just you get to like just everything is so well constructed that you can just kind of be absorbed into it and You don't have to have all this exposition like, hey, your name's Steve and you're in Skyrim. You're a prisoner of the Empire. You know, like that's like that's bad storytelling. But if they can just infer all these things and it's very subtle, like that sets the tone right away. And I think Skyrim does that so well. And then I think the only other game that can possibly compare to Skyrim as far as like amount of content is Witcher. Because Skyrim, it's not hard to put in 100 hours into. I think I played Skyrim 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours every day for those 5 weeks. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like my roommate would come out and she'd be like, "Are you still playing that game?" I'm like, "Shut up, turn off the lights."
Leave me
turn off. I
I
think by the end of that winter break, I had put like 350 hours into that game. I had beaten I'd beaten like 85% of the quests. Like I had done almost everything in the game possible. Like just in that month, it was crazy. So from a single standpoint, like I don't know what it was about Skyrim, but I was just totally captivated. I think from like a series standpoint, I'd either have to say Halo or Pokemon. I mean, those are kind of like I think that's everyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
Halo 2, I spent like an obscene amount. I spent most of middle school playing Halo 2, and if I'm thinking like over every single game, like you were comparing to Monster Hunter, Byron, then I would say probably like Pokemon as a series. I put like the same amount of hours as you have in Monster Hunter probably. But yeah, Skyrim's probably my the game that I've just like put the most like it's the game that I look back on and go like, oh man.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh boy, and by the way, my friend bought me the remastered version for PlayStation, and it's sitting wrapped in my living room because I'm scared to open it because I have too much stuff to do.
Job for that one.
I have too much stuff to do, and I would absolutely love to open it, but I'm scared. Just for my jobs, I feel like I'm gonna get fired if I like open that thing.
Yeah. I think for me, for a single game, it definitely have to be Uncharted 3. Uncharted 3 multiplayer specifically.
Nice.
Yeah. Even though I did, like for Uncharted 2 and 3, I played the campaigns for those a combination of over 30 times. Because I just love it unfolds like a movie. So, look at the clock and be like, oh, it's 1 p.m. Oh, now it's 1 p.m. 2 days later, and I finish the game.
Shit.
But yeah, Brian can attest to how much time we spent on Uncharted 3 multiplayer. I've even thought about like playing it again recently just because of like how good the multiplayer is in its own game. But yeah, I think when we checked the stats, when was that? Like about 2-3 years ago, it said something we like calculated it and came out to like 14 straight days of
it was like 12 something days. But then the issue with that though was like their leaderboards were kind of messed up, remember, for like time played. But I think that's a good estimate, like close to 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was close to 2 weeks straight of us playing Uncharted. Even like after the main people dropped out, and we played until like the last update. Like it was awesome. But in terms of franchises, it's kind of split between two, even though I know which one definitely takes the cake. The close runner-up had to be Fight Night, the Fight Night series. I got so good at that game. I was entering tournaments. I was whooping ass. I practiced on the second player side, got everything down. It was that like I still play it to on my PS3 when I come home and I have like 30 minutes to play something. I'm like, I could play like 6 or 7 rounds on the hardest difficulty, like, and I just love it. Fight Night is like one of the best sports games ever. And then, but my true
more of a
answer
Wii tennis kind of guy.
No, Wii tennis. Oh, own you in some Wii tennis. Don't even get me started on some Wii tennis.
Like, bro, let's
go. You want to talk about dragons?
Let's go, bro. Trying to step to me with Wii tennis?
Like, my game that I spent the most amount of time on for franchise-wise would have to be Smash Brothers. Like, whereas people pop it in and play with friends for, like, nights, like, I'll play a whole day practicing to myself.
Yeah, with just AI.
Yeah, with just AI. anything to get better, and specifically it would be Melee. Like if I had my GameCube hooked up, we could check how much like time I spent on Melee. The timer would probably be maxed out because I still play it even to this day, and we play it so competitively, not how it's meant to be played, but like Evo tournament wise, not quite that level, but we're like getting there. And I remember I brought that game over to my brother's like dorm in Berkeley, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's Smash Brothers, I'll play." And then they're like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" And it was awesome because I would visit them like from month to month, and they get better and better, and finally unlock like the higher level of play. And every time I got back, it was like, "Oh crap! Like we're actually getting better at this game." And so many hours is just sunk into that. Like not even, I was like, all right, let's study for a little bit and Smash Brothers break for like 30 minutes. And yeah,
it worked out.
I love that game. Like Melee. Oh, so good. I still play Project M till this day too.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I have my Wii hooked up.
They're not supporting it anymore though, huh? Like it's
no,
done
unfortunately
Nintendo
the team is
like,
done.
Cease and desist.
I mean, no, it's not because of that. They had that cease and desist like early on, but just because of the passion of the Melee crowd and the like mod community and stuff like that, they actually got it to keep going and stuff like that. So I'm actually really super happy that happened because I love Project M, customizable soundtrack and all that good stuff. But yeah, that brings us to the end of game time. But really quick before we go, what's the last thing that you guys have been playing?
I've been playing Final Fantasy 15 Endgame still. I'm trying to get to level 99. I've been like, I just started playing the, what's it called, Brian? The Monster Hero 5, the pinball, whatever, the weird pinball stuff.
Justice Monsters 5.
So I've been doing some like weird stuff. I think I'm level 85 right now, so I'm just trying to get, I know, I'm just getting very completionist with the game, so I'm trying to like do everything. So that's where I'm at right now as far as video games.
Yeah, for me, finished Resident Evil, my speed run and my hardest difficulty setting run, and that was a blast. And then I've also been playing a lot of that visual novel, the third volume of Zero Escape.
Oh, that's what you stabbed me last night.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. What
is that?
He's like, don't make me do this. And he's like holding a gun to this guy.
Yeah,
can you explain that a little bit? Because I was really curious about that.
So the game basically involves, the idea of this decision game. So you're in a group of 3 people and you're put in these escape the room scenarios and to survive. So you need to leave the room. And at the end, there's always a decision that you have to do. One of the games that they had was this Russian roulette scenario where one of the main characters sat in the seat and it closed on his neck and his arms. He couldn't move. And when they inserted the key to the to end the room scenario, you stuck a revolver into this, I guess keyhole. And when you turned it, it made the revolver point up at the character in the chair. And to get out of the room, you were told there's 3 blanks in this revolver and 3 live rounds. If you decide to shoot the gun, the door will open just hearing, the sound of the gun. So you have a 50-50 chance that it'll go off as a blank and you guys can all leave. There's another person in a room in a furnace that's about to be burned alive, and the only way for that door to open to let them out is if you shoot the gun. So you have to decide on the spot with the decision, do I shoot the gun and take the 50-50 chance that I can save one person, but the person that's in the chair is going to get shot and die? Or am I going to luck out and both people survive because it was a blank? And it was amazing. I got to tell you, the probability, like they actually factor that into the game. It's not just like guaranteed you'll do it correctly. Like I did it like 3 or 4 times and got like 3 kills and 3 and one time I survived. But it was badass.
That's hardcore.
So love the game. Definitely.
What was your first one? Did you actually kill the guy?
Yeah. What was your truest ending?
Like when I first did it?
Yeah.
I survived. Yeah, like I decided to make the decision to shoot the gun, and I got a blank. So both people lived, and I got to go down that.
What? You have amazing luck. I would have somehow shot the guy, and then the person would have died in the furnace anyway.
Yeah, like you took too long to make the decision.
Yeah.
See, See, he won. He beat the game, and then his evil twin Byron made him play it until the guy died.
Byron made him do it.
Oh, Byron, you bastard. Yeah, for me this week, I have played more Pokemon. Still on the first trial, because I usually play that at my fiance's house. I started and finished Batman, the Telltale series. Oh my god.
Nice, it was good?
It was so good, but there's like a huge... Something's wrong with Telltale's system. Like, I don't understand why they've had like 8 games to like make this work, but it still runs like shit. There was like, I had this glitch in the second episode where during the retelling of Batman's origin story, surprise, surprise, like, they had like this weird shadow that like clipped through the entire scene. So like you'd see like a gun appear, and then all of a sudden like it's complete black screen, and then it clips through like the character models, and I was like, what the hell is happening?
That's actually how his backstory started.
Oh, Jesus
Shadows.
Christ. He just can't remember. He blacked out.
Yeah.
And then like at the climax of episode 5, like I had to do like the final move, whatever, final decision, and the game just puts me into the blue screen and is like, oh, send a report saying why this happened. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is ridiculous. This is a PS4 game. It's not graphically intensive. I played Until Dawn. It's essentially the same exact game.
Running, yeah. Until Dawn has some bad frame rate too, but continue.
Yeah, but it, like nothing as bad as that has ever happened. I was like, this is ridiculous. But other than that, story, gameplay wise, awesome. And now I'm playing Gears of War 4 with my cousin. And, yeah, I haven't played 2, 3, or Judgment, but I got that with, the game, so I'll play those, like, randomly. Not really big on Gears, but it's another game for my Xbox, so. But yeah, alright. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and definitely tell us what game that you guys spent the most time on. It's always fun to hear back from you guys. Alright guys, stick around for our TV segment, What's On?
Back to Whatispodcast. This segment is called What Is On. We're talking...
I thought you fucked up at first. Sorry. That's what I was like... I started laughing. I was like, that's not our show.
We're gonna reset.
I was like, wait, that is our show.
You fucked up.
Awesome. Great show.
All right, guys. Welcome back to What Is Podcast. This segment's called What Is On. We're talking about TV and entertainment. So this week, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about Netflix, and just Netflix, not just as a streaming service, but as a production company. And I wanted to know, Brian, Patrick, how Netflix has affected you. I wanted to talk about how Netflix has not only changed your viewing habits, but I wanted to talk about how Netflix has changed the expectations for streaming services and television in general. So yeah, let's get into it. Basically, for me, Netflix, I think, has done a great job of not only aggregating content, but has changed how they've changed the game so many times. They changed the game by weaning people off of cable and making streaming cool, I guess. I don't think their intention was to make streaming cool, but they made it practical. They had such a huge library that it made it okay and feasible to not have a cable package anymore. You know? So that in itself is amazing. I mean, I think Netflix is probably the reason the phrase cable cutters even exists anymore, or exists at all. Like, you know, when you hear people talking about the downfall of cable and streaming services, what comes to your mind when you talk about streaming sites? Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's a big one.
I mean Hulu and Amazon Prime and other things like Crunchyroll. These things come to mind, but Netflix is the
household name.
Yeah, it's what everyone thinks of when they think of streaming sites. they've changed the game again in the past 5 years by being by showing that it's people are able to like streaming services like Netflix are able to produce content, and it's lucrative, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So back when House of Cards came out, 2011, right? Was that right? 2012?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So House of Cards, you know, was originally they put a bunch of Kevin Spacey movies on Netflix, and it became so popular that they kind of took notice, right? And House of Cards was almost made based on the fact that Kevin Spacey was a popular actor on Netflix. And obviously that did very well, and that kind of was the beginning, I think, the launching point of Netflix realizing like, hey, we can make our own content and it's successful, right?
Right.
And so now that they proved that it was possible, you know, here we are now, and, you know, Stranger Things is becoming like, you know, getting all these awards and super successful. I mean, that's just where we are now. And I know Netflix, I was reading an article on Variety that Netflix plans to continue to push original content. I think in the next couple of years, they want to do half and half. So they want to aggregate half of their content, but they also want to produce 50%. 50%. Half of their content is going to be original. And that's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because Netflix started off as aggregate. You know? I mean, think about Facebook and Reddit and all these other, like Tumblr. Those are all aggregates. Those are news aggregates. Those are social media aggregates. Like they collect information and then they put it into one place for people to consume, right? Netflix, from a television standpoint, was a media aggregate for television. And now, you know, after the success of House of Cards and Orange is the New Black and all these other things, they've proven that they can like create their own content and be successful. But the other interesting thing is that they are able to narrowcast. They take shows that aren't necessarily particularly successful on paper and for normal studios, and then they say, we're going to do it anyways because we think it's going to work. And Stranger Things is a perfect example of that. Stranger Things was rejected 15 plus times by other studios.
And that's crazy to think about now in hindsight, that Stranger Things is like a huge show.
Yeah, right? I mean, it's so successful. It's
so strange. Oh.
It's so strange. It's beloved. It's so popular. I don't know very many people that don't like Stranger Things, you know? It's so endearing. And for people who are older than us, it's nostalgic, and for people our age who are a little bit younger, it's cool. It's retro, right? I mean, we weren't from that time period, so it doesn't hold the same meaning. But they pay such homage to that time, and they do such a good job. And I remember reading about you know, the whole Stranger Things thing, about how it didn't sell very well on paper, but because Netflix was so passionate and hired the right people, it came across in this very endearing way, right? I mean, can you guys agree with that? I mean,
yeah,
the whole series has it's like a love letter to that time and that of filmmaking and entertainment.
Yeah,
even that genre for like horror.
Yeah, just like
sci-fi
Spielberg, Stephen King, all that.
It encompasses all of that and does it amazingly.
Exactly.
So
I mean, it's kind of like Super 8, but better than Super 8. And I know that's weird. It's weird to say because Super 8 was a good movie, but you would expect
I'd call
Steven Spielberg.
A Super 10.
More like a Super 5.5. No, because like you take a Steven Spielberg movie and you're like, oh, it's going to be so good, and somehow Stranger Things, I think in my mind, beats it. You know?
Yeah.
So I mean, Netflix has not only proven that they are able to intelligently take viewership analytics based on like actors and content and create content based on what people obviously like Kevin Spacey. And, you know, they're getting a lot of like original stand-up comic routines based on what people view.
This is awesome,
and,
yes.
Right? But they're not only doing that, but they're also giving shows a chance that didn't have a chance.
Right.
You know, Hollywood wouldn't accept them, and they said, we don't care. Arrested Development got a 4th season because of Netflix. I mean, there's just so many examples of shows getting second life because of Netflix, and it's just kind of it's kind of incredible that how much influence they have on the industry, and it doesn't seem likely that this would be the case because again they were originally just an aggregate, a television aggregate, right?
Yeah, and
but they
a little bit too, but
it does come at a cost though, right? I mean, a lot of people have been frustrated that like, oh, Netflix has like not had as much content and stuff because it's honestly because they're reallocating their investments in spending money on licensing. Content. Yeah, a couple of years ago, you know, people were starting to complain that Netflix wasn't having enough content, and so you kind of had this duality between like, oh, Hulu was the place for like if you wanted to keep up with the most modern stuff, Hulu was spending all of its money on making sure that you had the most recent episodes, and Netflix was kind of your back catalog, right? So Hulu was like, oh, I would be able to keep up with cable. And Netflix was just kind of like, oh, if I wanted to watch old episodes of something, that's where I would go. And now Netflix has totally changed the game in being like, and presenting itself and creating content in a way that makes it very relevant, where you can only get this content from Netflix, and it's not just relying on old content. Like all the money that they were kind of like being stingy on licensing has now become it's bread and butter, right? I mean, they kind of it's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term game. Like Stranger Things wouldn't have existed had it not given up some licensing money to invest in producing its own content. I read that House of Cards was $100 million production. Like that's insane.
Wow. From the beginning?
Like that's
just in general?
that's the kind of money that they're spending on their original content. I mean, it's just it's crazy. So I think it's amazing that Netflix has changed how people view episodic media, you know?
Yeah.
It does have a lot of, and it does its own like movies too, but you know, I think it's really what it's focusing on is these, you know, TV shows and TV content. Like you can watch The Office and Scrubs and, you know, all this other like very popular television from, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And it's all readily available to you right there because Netflix is not only like probably the number one aggregate, but it's also doing such an amazing job at creating its own content. And that brings me kind of to my last point is that Netflix kind of created binge watching culture, but it also embraces it with its original content. Whenever it releases a new season of whatever it's making, it releases it all at once, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't have to, if you are on episode 5 and episode 6, you just have to watch and you have to stay up late to watch it. You can. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. I mean, have you guys ever done that, right? Where you're like watching a TV show on Netflix and you know that you have like 5 more episodes, but you end up staying up till 3 a.m. because you couldn't not watch the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about Netflix earlier and whatever episode we're on, probably episode 1, I told you guys that I was in the middle of finals and I had to study for like my huge final the next day, and then my brother was home and was like, dude, have you tried Breaking Bad? And I was like, no. By that time it was already like on its 4th season on TV, and I was like, well, it's 6 episodes, I'll try 1 episode. And
one turned
into 1 season. And I was like, I should probably start season 2 now that I finished season 1, and I ended up passing my class with a C.
Hey, you got through it.
So yeah.
Yeah, so we
agree. And it's also interesting too because Netflix has proven that original content can be lucrative. I mean, Hulu and Amazon have followed suit. They're not just simply aggregates anymore. They're actually creating their own content. I mean, Hulu has the Mindy Project, Amazon Man in the High Castle. I mean, you have people following suit because they see it's successful. I mean, Amazon has set the tone. And it's so crazy to think about what Blockbuster had a chance to buy Amazon in 2005 or something for like 10 million or something like that.
These
right?
guys aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're Blockbuster, damn it.
Like, why would we want to online stream our videos when people can just go to our stores? That's so stupid.
No one wants to stream. You know what's funny?
It's
What,
almost
like a lot, like probably a couple years back, I was like, "What? I didn't have Netflix, so we had when I went to a friend's house. I was like, oh, sweet, the discs came in the mail, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And they're like, or we could stream something to watch. And I'm like, why would I want to do that? You guys order the discs. Let's watch the discs. And now it's totally like the opposite. We're like, dude, what do you want to watch on Netflix? And you spend like an hour just trying to pick what you want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
just
they
so
don't
much
even do
content.
the discs anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It's an awesome turnaround, but it's just funny to think back at a time where you're like, what are you talking about? Streaming.
What is this streaming?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do remember when they were originally like a DVD mail service, right? Because they were kind of like, they were so far ahead of the times that people didn't even realize that that's what they wanted. And so they kind of like compromised by mailing out the DVDs. And then like, I remember being really excited, like, oh, you know, season 2 of Community just came into my Netflix DVD mail.
Woo.
Like, oh God.
This
So,
is going to be awesome.
I wanted to ask you guys, what is some of your favorite Netflix originals? I mean, what, because there's so much. They do everything. They do documentaries, they do anime, they do sci-fi, they do, they just do everything. So they do stand-up comedy. What is, give me like one or two of your guys' favorite Netflix originals that you guys are really into.
Yeah, I would definitely say season 3 for Black Mirror, the Daredevil series, and I'm really liking, the Voltron Legendary Defender. Those have been like my top 3 or 4 within recent memory.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Patrick?
For me, my one is probably, I guess it's as a series is like just anything that they do where they bring it from Marvel. Like I love that.
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage. Daredevil, definitely. Jessica Jones was huge with me. I like love that show. I think that's like dark, comic book storytelling done right.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Much better than Powers. Sorry, PlayStation.
Right now I'm trying Sense8 right now. I know my fiance
I heard that's really
love
good.
that show, and yeah, I'm like probably like 4 or 5 episodes in, and it's interesting. I like the plot, so I'm waiting to finish that, and yeah, those are like my 2.
For me, I switch for, obviously Stranger Things is at the top of the list. I think we can say that without saying it or going into too much detail at the very least. But for me, a lot of Netflix's documentaries or anime is actually some of my favorite stuff. I just finished watching Making a Murderer. That was absolutely captivating. Chef's Table.
Yeah.
Chef's Table is a Netflix documentary about Michelin star restaurants. That's super good. The first season is kind of all around the world, and then the second season is specifically France, which is really cool. Love is a rom-com by them that is super good. It has one of the actresses from Community, Jillian Jacobs.
That was one that you were saying about last week, right?
Yep, super good. And then some of the anime, Knights of Sidonia was surprisingly good, and Seven Deadly Sins. Because, I
saw that.
Seven Deadly Sins, yeah, I remember that.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Because Netflix has their own like kind of version of anime, which is super weird. It's like kind of it's almost like Code Lyoko-esque, where it's like very like not animated.
You know how much we love Code Lyoko.
You know how much I love
yeah, but it's just like you can see all the polygons like with a like a paper skin on them almost. It's kind of weird. It takes a long time to get used to. I'm still not like a big fan of it, but some of the writing is so good. Because like Knights of Sidonia is a perfect example of that. Like it's got like this like weird. I don't like the art style. I really don't. But the writing's really good. And Seven Deadly Sins is definitely a more like traditional animated style with the same kind of like writing. So yeah, they have so much. I mean, and they just don't stop. I remember logging on to Netflix maybe like 3 weeks ago and just being overwhelmed by they had just released like six different things like all at once. I was just like, oh.
That's when you just turned it off. You turned it off. Like, you know what? No.
I just watched Parks and Rec or something. I'm just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. But I've been trying to watch more of their stuff because there's so much. I've been watching Abstract, just came out. It's about It's a documentary series, a Netflix original about like really famous artists. The first episode's about some guy who does like a lot of the New Yorker covers. Second episode's about the guy who designed like the Nike shoes, like the Air Jordans and stuff. So like, I mean, they just do so much cool stuff. I mean, just from like, for me as like someone who like produces like videos and stuff like that, just from like a cinema, like a, just like the cinematography and some of these things is just so gorgeous. You have to at least appreciate that. And then more often than not, the writing of these things is just really, really well done. So from just like a really simple aspect, you can enjoy it because a lot of the stuff's entertaining, but you can really delve into some really gorgeous kind of documentaries, or you can get in some really funny like stand-up stuff. I mean, that again, it's pretty incredible. I think we take for granted Netflix is. I mean, that's kind of why I talked about it this segment, is because it's such a part of everyone's life, but we don't really think about how crazy, like, we don't really think about our lives without Netflix. It's just there. It's like Google, right? It's like the internet. It's like smartphones. It's just a part of everything. So
everybody has it.
You know, it's something worth kind of taking a step back and appreciating, because it's so valuable, you know, not only from a standpoint of them being such good business people to understand what we want to watch, and like not only telling us what we want to watch by creating their own content, but really listening to what people find popular and making sure that they have the licenses for that and spending the money so that they can become successful and then we can enjoy ourselves, you know?
Yeah. Wholehearted.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, before we go, what have you guys been watching?
So yeah, I kind of talked about it. I've been watching a lot of Voltron Legendary Defender, and basically like watched the first episode. It was like something that like I was meaning to see, and I'm like watching. I'm like, man, this looks really familiar. Why does this remind me of something? And I'm like, this looks like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh.
And sure enough, the showrunners of Voltron Legendary Defender are mainstays from Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender, and the animation studio is the same one, so the visual style is exactly the same, and I'm loving it. I finished the first season. I'm on the second season, and it's just as funny. It's just
I've watched the first episode, and I feel like
it.
I'll have to give it an extra chance for sure now.
Definitely do. It's great.
What
For
about
me,
you, Ryan?
I've been, again, I just finished Making a Murderer, which was riveting. Have you guys watched that?
Not yet.
No.
So it's about this kind of like simple Southern dude who
No, we did. Me and Marisha watched that, and we couldn't get into it.
It's really good. It may not be your cup of tea, but if you find
good,
like
Patrick.
murder mystery interesting, like
good.
watch it, because it's a real life story. It's not fake. It's not like written. It's like a documentary about this dude who pisses off the sheriff of a small town, and I'm gonna say this as delicately as I possibly can, but the guy pisses off the sheriff and then gets framed for rape and gets thrown in jail for 18 years. And
yeah,
basically
it still didn't
that
capture
wasn't
us.
Where's the action?
that wasn't, well, because it's
Somebody
it's
threw
awful.
a pie.
I mean, again, that's not really the most delicate way of saying it, but I guess what I meant to say was that the entire time, that the way that they present it is like with a certain air of ambiguity. Like you kind of experience it through the timeline. Like you don't, like when they first present it, they don't just say like he's innocent. They kind of like present it as
you were following along with the case, like if you're in that actual time zone, like
exactly.
And
so
you
find
it's all unfolding.
Exactly. So you get presented with all this information, and then as you reach episode 3 or 4, you like find out like, okay, well, all this other stuff happened that you didn't know about before. And then, so it turns out this guy is like, he gets released from jail for this, and then gets thrown right back in jail right as they start questioning the cops who basically framed him. So this guy spends like 18 years of his life in prison for something he didn't do and was exonerated for. And then right as the cops are about to go down in the town and the sheriffs are about to go down for screwing with his life, he supposedly murders somebody. It's like, whoa. Like right as these cops are about to pay this dude like $10 million for suffering in jail for 20 years for doing something he didn't do, all of a sudden he coincidentally murders this chick, and it's just like, it's a roller coaster ride. It's so good. So I just finished watching that. Again, Patrick, I know, like, we have different tastes in TV, obviously. So I wouldn't say watch it for you, but if you're the type of person who likes murder mysteries, this is so good, especially because it's real and it's a thing that actually happened. And at the very end, like, you just like are left with like, you want to know more. Like, you want to know what happened, last month with this. You want like an update, and it just ends, and you're just like, ugh. So it's the ultimate cliffhanger, and there's no resolution because it's not a movie. It's real, and that's what's probably the scariest part about it. So that's what I've been watching.
All right, yeah. For me, like I said, I was watching Sense8. I got through probably half of it, and I like the plot. Some of the nudity is just like, I don't know. I don't really care for nudity in like any sort of medium. Like, let's just say we understand that the people are naked. Please don't show me anything. It's not additive to what the story is, and that's what I'm like really interested in. But there's like a lot of like shock value that comes with just open the door and go pee, Brian. Jesus Christ. Trying to do a show here. Byron went to go pee. But yeah, like I said, Sense8, I like the plot. Some of the like more mature content is kind of just like, okay, we really didn't need to see any of these things. But I started and finished Better Call Saul in one day because I was working from home, and it was awesome. For people who like law shows, this is definitely it's a good law show, but in the zany kind of funny comical way that Bob Odenkirk portrays his character. And he's like this down on luck, struggling to be a successful lawyer, but he cuts corners and ends up making great victories and strides to becoming a good lawyer. And it's just awesome seeing how his character transitioned from a good person trying to do what's right to who we now know from Breaking Bad as Saul Goodman. It's just awesome. I can't wait for season 2 to come on Netflix. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you have been watching, and what do you guys think about Netflix? Like, what have you guys watched on there? Do you like the form factor of them trying to push 50% original content and all that good stuff? Let us know in the comments below. And we'll be right back with our movie segment, Keeping It Real. Ladies and gentlemen, that topic was brought to you by Dialed In Project. Byron, do you ever wish you could relive a moment in time?
Yeah, honestly.
What about
all the
you?
time.
What about you, Byron?
Never.
No.
No, I wish.
Well, now you can or can't. Dialed In Project is a local photography and videography business that can be there to capture every moment from every angle. Hey, shh. Falcon, shh. I'm trying to do a show. Need a high-quality video of your child's 5th birthday? Have a wedding but no photographers at the ready? Want high-quality photos of your beach family reunion? Dialed In Project's got you covered. I personally contacted Dialed In Project when I needed candid videos and photos for my proposal with my fiance. They did an awesome job. Met up with them. They were the nicest guys ever. The video came out amazingly. It was like reliving the actual moment. The pictures are super high quality, and they really pay attention to detail. They get it from every angle. And they'll work with pretty any event that you're trying to do. So yeah, check them out at dialedinproject.com. Dialed In Project. We live every moment. Alright guys, welcome back to Whatispodcast, and welcome to the section that we like to call Keeping It Real. Some news for our movie segment. Helen Mirren's role has been released for The Fate of the Furious, the Fast and the Furious 8. She plays the Shaw brothers' mother.
Ooh.
So if you remember, Fast and the Furious 6 was the first brother, and then Fast and the Furious 7 was the one with Jason Statham
Mm-hmm.
being the other brother,
Mm-hmm.
and now both of them are like gone.
Mhm.
So, I'm pretty sure the plot is gonna be like a revenge plot for like Vin Diesel versus Helen Mirren,
Okay.
which if you watched Red or Red 2, Helen Mirren plays an awesome like assassin and all that good stuff. But yeah, are you gonna go watch Fate of the Furious?
Oh, of course. Like, they've been consistently really good action movies for the last many years, so...
It's weird how they transitioned from like a street racing, just cop street racing underground,
Gajane.
like racing movie to, oh, let's make this a heist movie.
Yeah.
And it's about
And
familia.
And familia. And they're really good because of it, so nice move.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, they're not friends. They're family. It's like, it's so cheesy, but it's good.
It works.
But yeah, so we finally found out Helen Mirren's role in that. And another bit of news. Mel Gibson confirms that he's in talks with directing Suicide Squad 2. So
Okay.
he's in talks, but he isn't necessarily the director.
Okay. That could be interesting, as long as it doesn't... I don't know.
I have no idea. What would I feel about this?
So I didn't really watch Passion, or... What was the latest film he made?
Lethal Weapon 5.
Lethal Weapon 5.
Electric Boogaloo. Whoever, any Sunny in Philadelphia fans out there, they're like Lethal Weapon 5 or something like that. But yeah, that's at least interesting news
Sure.
to have Mel Gibson, voice actor of John Smith from Pocahontas. That's his breakout role, for those of you guys who didn't know.
Had to be.
Yeah, he is in talks with directing Suicide Squad 2. As we all know, Suicide Squad
It was great.
Let's just say mixed reviews.
Mm-hmm.
As with other DC films in mind.
That should not be named.
But yeah, we'll see what he brings to the table if he ends up helming the director's seat. What do you think about that, Ryan?
About Mel Gibson directing Suicide Squad 2?
Yeah. Not good, Cotton. Not good.
I just feel like the first one wasn't very successful, and I just feel like if you're gonna bring someone in to try to make it successful, Mel Gibson is not maybe the guy. I don't know. I just I really wanted the first one to be good, you know, and
See, yeah, the thing I was talking to with a friend was they took that movie and they totally had the wrong plot for it. It was trying to make these bad guys superheroes. You know, the plot was for them to save the world. But that's not what the Suicide Squad is. Like, they should have made it more like a Ocean's 11 heist movie where they had to make a team and they had to get something of importance to Amanda Waller.
Yeah, who controls the operator. Mm-hmm.
And that's how they did it on Assault on Arkham.
And it was good.
And, oh my god, that is like, if you want what Suicide Squad should be, watch that DC animated film. DC animated movies are just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they can't do the same thing with their live action movies, but that's my own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Assault on Arkham, way better than Suicide Squad. But yeah, let's go to our main topic for this segment. What's the worst movie theater experience you guys have ever had?
Ryan, what do you got for us?
Yeah,
My answer depends on what you say.
Yeah. For me, I feel like can I go first because I know Brian.
Yes.
I think we share our worst movie theater experience.
Yes.
That's exactly what he said before we started recording.
Yes.
It
can be a dual answer.
I'm just gonna say it, and I'm gonna make you figure it out, Brian, and steal your idea that I know that you're gonna say the same thing. Seeing Avatar, The Last Airbender, the movie in theaters by M. Night Shyamalan was just it was bad, not because of like the people or like someone was like yelling or just being rude and obnoxious. It was the worst because the movie sucked, and we cared so much about it. We cared so much about the source material. Brian and I bought. I think you mentioned. I think last week even that you had found out that it had terrible ratings, and I said, forget it. Don't worry about it. Let's just go. And it was just so bad. I mean, they spent almost no money on the special effects, and it was very obvious. And
all these Asian children are white.
Yeah, I mean, there was. I mean, I read all these articles about like nepotism within the production, and it made so much sense. I mean, there was just so many things that, in hindsight, once you kind of like delve into it, was just like, oh, that's why the movie sucked. Thank God there's like a reason, and that they like tried, but they just failed. But at the time, it was just so disappointing because Brian, you and I have gone to like several midnight releases. I think honestly one of the best movie experiences we had, conversely, as Iron Man 2, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Like Brian, Patrick, as you were mentioning the other week as well, Brian snuck in his folded up box of popcorn that had a refill tab left on it.
That's every movie. Literally, like it goes without saying within our group.
And I snuck in some Dr. Pepper cans into my giant pea coat in the middle of July. So me and Brian were so it's so embarrassing now as we get older. But like I think we were much younger, so we were like just trying to we just wanted to save money. And I mean, obviously that's still important now, but it was very important for these movie going experiences to just get like the cheapest experience possible, because movies are expensive. And so I snuck in some Dr. Pepper, Brian snuck in some popcorn, and we basically had this regal experience at Iron Man 2, which the movie theater was absolutely full. And thank God that I went in to grab the seats, because I don't think Brian would have been assertive enough to like find us seats to like in the middle, because there was nothing. There was literally no way me and Brian were going to sit next to each other. And these two nice ladies in the exact center of the theater had like what me and Brian call the gay barrier. People who like get like weird and like uncomfortable by sitting next to like someone else. They're just like, oh, I want my personal space in movie theater. It's like, okay, well, you're in a movie theater. Just get over it. And so I asked these ladies to move over one seat, and me and Brian had perfect seats. And these ladies were hilarious. Like they were, I mean, after the credits, like Thor, the trailer for Thor came out, and the girls were like, oh my God, Thor's my boy. Like they were so excited.
Yeah.
So that was basically Avatar was the exact opposite of that. We get there, we're so excited, we're all prepared, and the movie just absolutely sucked. And I think, Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, you looked at me just like, why? Why did you make me do this? Yeah. I tried to warn you, and you just wouldn't listen to me. And it literally was only a bad movie experience because the movie sucked so hard. Again, it didn't have anything to do with, like raining or the people were rude. Because I feel like that's how most people have a bad experience, right? But like that was just so disappointing because it wouldn't have been disappointing had we gone like a week later, but we went to the midnight premiere. Let me say that again. Brian and I bought tickets to go to the midnight premiere of Avatar: The Last Airbender by M. Night Shyamalan. I'm so embarrassed to say that, but we did it. like on my deathbed, I'm be like, guys, tell my wife that I bought tickets to Airbender. I loved him.
That's what I was gonna say that on your tombstone. Yeah, right? It says Ryan McGarry bought midnight tickets to Avatar.
Like that's like if you were a cruel person and wanted that to be my last memory, that's what you put on my headstone. Like it was.
Oh
awful.
My God! Why wasn't that your senior quote?
That would be
I bought tickets to Avatar. It was just so bad. It was
Brian's would be the same.
It was just so disappointing because the animated series was just so well thought out, and the animation was beautiful, and the characters were deep, and you cared about them, and
their cabbages,
and it was just so funny and moving. Like when Zuko dies, or not Zuko, the uncle.
Spoiler alert!
The uncle. When the uncle. Zero. What's the uncle's name? Oh my God! Help me out! Come on.
Uncle. Like Zuko's uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zyra or something.
Yeah. So when he dies, you're just like, and that because he died in real life, right? And so they had that whole like episode
Mako,
Yeah.
episode about like him and his backstory, and they pay homage to the actor. Like it's just like,
Oh, the Tales of Bossing
Mhm.
Say.
Tales of Boston
Mhm,
Say in the episode he doesn't die. It says he's celebrating his like the death of his son, I think, in
Yeah.
that episode.
but
Mako, the voice actor, did die, and that you're right, that was actually tied to the kind of honoring him.
exactly. But I mean,
in Tales of Boston.
you know, aside from the fact that he actually died, but the series had such a good ebb and flow of being really funny and really serious and moving, and
And the action got pretty good too.
yeah, like the animation was gorgeous, and you just like it was just I'm gonna rewatch that tonight. But it was so disappointing to watch that movie just absolutely butcher the source content. I mean, it was just heartbreaking, really. I think it was devastating in a way to watch this movie just unfurl in front of us, especially because we were so excited, and Brian knew better, and I didn't listen to him. So that was my worst movie experience.
I had the same thing with him where I was like, dude, let's go watch Ratchet and Clank. I'll pay for you. And he was like, it's not a good movie though. And I was like, I don't care. I have to see this. And then I ended up falling asleep.
He made a bad choice.
I was like, it's okay. I paid for you, so you
I had
just have to
popcorn
sit
and he
there.
paid
Yeah.
for me, so it was okay.
So it's all good. I was like, man, this is a video game movie. I have to see if this is a good one, because we have yet to have a good IP video game movie.
Can I go on a real quick tangent? Neil Blomkamp was the original director for the Halo movies in the mid 2000s. What?
When Denzel Washington was supposed to be Master
I
Chief?
totally forgot about that because Neil Blomkamp wasn't successful at that point. So that I feel like that is so much more of a big deal now than it was then, because at that point he hadn't done Chappie, he hadn't done District 9, he hadn't done Elysium. Like, he wasn't a successful director at that point. And can you imagine Neil Blomkamp's vision of Halo? Do you guys remember the short? There was like a 5-minute film that he directed, actually, without the studio's permission, to kind of showcase his vision. And I'm almost positive if you saw it, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Because it's like a airdrop basically of like UNSNC like people, and they're all trying to they're all getting messed up, and there's like banshees and like brutes all like walking through, and like all.
I think I vaguely remember.
It was like
Yes,
it's really gorgeous, and it's like it was like the main video that people watched when they were getting hyped for the Halo movies, and that was actually directed by Neil Blomkamp, and I had no clue. Because I remember watching that thing a bazillion times. But yeah, so I mean, Ratchet and Clank obviously was not a good example, but it's always
Yeah. The only good video game movie that we have is Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
But that's not like the video game adapted to a different medium.
That's also
It's like, oh, here's a collection of
that's also Disney has their hands in it. Anything, I feel like Disney will make
like Cars 2.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
Damn, that was an exception. Yeah. That was...
Yeah. Yeah, but for the most part, anything Disney touches pretty much turns into gold. But yeah, my worst movie theater experience, it was when Silent Hill came out in the movie theaters. I remember I went with like 3 of my cousins. We all went to go eat and then watch like the midnight showing. I don't know if it was a premiere or not, but it was late, and we get into the movie theater and it was so hot. It was like literally, I think it was summertime maybe when it came out. I don't know. But we go into the movie theater. We're at the very top in the very back, and one of those like small screen movie theaters. So like, I don't know. It kind of looks like you watching your phone when you hold it as far away from your face as possible. That's what it felt like. And then it was also like 100 degrees in there. And I remember like maybe a quarter of the way through the movie, like I take off my shirt because it's just too goddamn hot in there. And I look over to my left, and all my cousins have their shirts like either lifted up or they're off too, and we're all just like, this sucks. And I am the type of person that doesn't go to scary movies voluntarily. because I don't like jump scares and stuff like that. But I remember being so bothered and so distraught by the heat in this movie theater that even when stuff would pop up on the screen or be like loud, I'd be, ugh, I don't. It's not scary. I just want to leave. And this was when I was younger too, so I was like, I couldn't just get into the car and drive home and be like, screw this, I'm out.
Yeah.
And it was like I had to sit through that
torture,
pretty much 2-hour long movie and be like, God, this sucks.
Yeah.
It was pretty much a sauna with a movie in it. So that was just like my quick.
You should make that a thing.
A sauna movie?
A sauna movie?
That sounds horrible.
It does. Never again.
Yeah, but that was like the worst movie experience I've ever had in my entire life. I've had movie experiences where I sat close to the screen where you can't even, like, you literally have to, like, look back, like, tilt your head all the way back and watch the movie. Again, that was for, like, what was it? It was like a glass house or something like that. It was another scary movie. When a Stranger Calls.
Oh, I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, it was a scary movie, but it was more like I was in the front row. Things were happening, but I couldn't tell with my eyes.
So it wasn't.
You couldn't tell with your eyes. Couldn't tell with my eyes what was going on in the movie.
I mean, I could tell with my balls.
Yeah.
So
using the vibration of the subwoofer.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
I actually had a similar movie
But,
experience. I was watching. I got free tickets to a movie premiere for Hobbit, the first Hobbit. And me and my
I'm going on an adventure.
Me and my friend Zach went, and we on our way there. We lived right next to a Chipotle at that point, so we grabbed Chipotle, snuck them in my peacoat, my reliable peacoat with its deep pockets. And
we Chipotle away,
right? And the only seats we could find were at the front, at the very, very front. So we were like, our necks were completely craned up, but we didn't care because we were watching The Hobbit and we had Chipotle burritos, so we weren't worried. Also, the security sucked. Like the guy, like beeped both. Like he was like had the metal detector, like the wand, and he hit both my pockets, and he went beep, 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 and he kind of looks at me weird, and he's like. And I was like, oh, sorry, it's my phone. And he's just like, oh, okay. And he's just like, I have like two full Chipotle burritos in my coat pocket. And then Zach walks up and he's got Dr. Pepper's in his flannel because he couldn't put the Chipotle burritos in there without being too obvious. And of course, both cans go out and goes beep. One can, beep, other can. And then it goes up to his breast pocket where he's got his iPod. He's like, beep. And like now he's busted, right? So he pulls out his iPod. He's like, oh, sorry, it's just my iPod. And the guy's like, oh, just make sure to turn it off. And then we had like Chipotle burritos and Dr. Pepper's just like in the movie theater. It was great. I was like, wow, why is this guy even here? He literally didn't stop anything from happening. Like,
yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for keeping it real. Before we go, what's the last movie we all watched?
I just saw John Wick Chapter 2.
Damn it! I still want to see that.
It's fucking awesome.
So good, my god, I want to watch it so bad.
Definitely watch it. It's great.
Yeah, John Wick 1 was freaking awesome. I just want to watch it. I just want to go now.
And I was super excited because Arrival came out on Blu-ray and DVD on Tuesday. And
that's the one that everyone's been talking about.
We've been talking about it.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. I finally saw that, Brian. Super good.
It's on Blu-ray?
It's on Blu-ray now, so you can watch it on like
So is it worth the buy?
To buy it? I mean,
if I've never heard
kind of like
it.
The Prestige, where it's like a long movie that like
that's a good movie.
It's fantastic. So like, if you want to show it,
Batman versus Wolverine and magic.
Yes, yeah. So I would say it's definitely worth a purchase. But so I rented it and I showed it to my parents because I was super excited to have them watch it, and it was literally beyond my mother's understanding. Like she was just like, this movie sucked. I didn't understand any of it.
Kind of the same thing for The Prestige. And I was like, damn it. I wish I was watching this under different circumstances, even though I love your mom.
So my dad was kind of, he didn't really care too much about it because they didn't get it. Uh-huh. And I had to explain it, and I was really sad because I was like, this movie's genius and fantastic. And
it's the same thing for my dad. If no one's shooting anything or nothing's blowing up, it doesn't interest him. I wouldn't be able to show him Inception. He would not understand that movie, and he'd just be like, "What
is happening?"
But then again, this is the type of guy where I wake up at 3 a.m. as like a 7-year-old, and he's watching a Filipino movie where the guy is like kissing and romancing the girl on like a bridge, and then all of a sudden like 3 guerrilla fighters come out of nowhere, and he somehow picks up like a mech and just like starts destroying everyone. I'm like, where's the plot?
Nope, don't need it.
So yeah, the last movie I watched was I took Marisha and her siblings to watch Lego Batman.
How was it? Pretty good, right? From what I heard.
It's a good kids movie. There's a lot of fan service for people who love Batman. There's a lot of Easter eggs in there. I thought it was gonna be better. It turned out to be one of those things where they showed all the good parts in the trailers.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So unfortunately, that was a downer. But yeah, it was a pretty good kids movie. That's what to expect from a Lego movie. I think was it Will Arnett?
As the voice, yeah, sounds right. Yeah,
he does a funny Batman. The plot was kind of just whatever, but like I said, it's a kids movie. It's all about bright lights and having little gags here and there. It was entertaining. Good. So yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Honestly, the last movie I saw in theaters was Arrival. That was the last thing I saw. So I've nothing to contribute really, other than the fact that I really enjoyed the complexity of Arrival with the whole like time travel aspect of it.
I think I'm gonna go out on a whim and just buy that thing and then just watch it. I trust you guys enough to like.
It's pretty intriguing.
Like
I was not expecting it to be what it was, and Amy Adams is like pretty stellar in it. Like she does a great job, and it kind of reminds me of District 9, where the filming changes style, like halfway through. Yeah, because like the first bit, you really get a sense of Amy Adams' like anxiety for being in the situation that she's put in because of the cinematography, and you're like, oh, like there's a lot of like, they use a lot of prime lenses and a lot of like short depth of field lenses to create this sense of like, claustrophobia and anxiety. And then once the movie progresses, it like uses longer focal length and all these other things to really kind of like convey. So like the movie is very intelligent from a camera standpoint. It tells a story in a way that's different than just the dialogue and what you're seeing on the camera. It does a really good job of creating a certain sensibility throughout the film that you wouldn't normally get from just a conventional sci-fi movie. They put a lot of effort into making sure that they did certain things to kind of create anxiety for the viewers. And there's lots of amazing parallels throughout the film too that I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it for you, Patrick, but there's a lot of great visual parallels throughout the film that you're gonna enjoy for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely add that to my Amazon fucking wish list. I'll add it to my wish list. Yeah. Let us know in the comments below, what's the worst movie theater experience that you guys ever had, whether it be a hot movie theater or a crap movie. Yeah, and stick around for our last segment, Tech Nerdy to Me.
Alright, for this week's Tech Nerdy to Me, I thought we'd discuss a topic that most people start to think about when they get into gaming. And that is, what gaming accessories are worth one's time and money? And of course, I'm talking about displays, headphones, modded controllers, the like. And I feel the best way to answer this question and have some fun would be to ask the group, what gaming, tech, or peripheral had the biggest impact on the way we play games? And then if we had time afterwards, we can kind of give our general opinion on like what type of things to definitely put your time towards or maybe stay away from. So, yeah, I'll start with you, Pat. What's game tech kind of really changed the way you play?
Originally, when you pitched this idea, it was hard for me because, you really know me in the sense that I don't like any third-party type of controllers,
Right.
or I don't mess with Mad Cats unless it's a fight stick.
Sure, yeah. No,
But I don't mess with those those rubber
Ooh.
grip controllers or anything
Yeah.
like this. Doesn't look sleek. This doesn't look sexy in the way that the designers of the console made it to be. But
Right.
I'm gonna go a little off of what the question is, but I'm gonna say the biggest thing that impacted how I play games is the addition of an analog stick.
Oh, ooh, okay.
Like just technically, the fact that you could roam around without having an up, down, left, or right.
Yeah.
You know, like that, and added with a right analog stick to change camera angles. When that started being implemented in games, it was like, how did we not think of this before? Because a lot of the games back then, they were more 2D side scroller,
Yeah.
or they had camera issues, or you had to lock on to what you were looking at,
Mhm.
or fix the camera using a shoulder button or something like that.
Mhm.
But when people started realizing, oh, let's add an analog stick to this, let's be able to really control what our character looks at, and then seeing how that gets implemented into third-person shooters, first-person shooters, point-and-click adventures.
Mhm.
It adds so much dynamic into how the game is very ergonomic.
Yeah.
You know,
Controls better.
it
yeah.
controls, or I should say intuitive. That's
That's
the word I'm more looking for. Yeah, the addition of analog sticks, and it's just like it adds 2 extra buttons, like the
Yeah,
L3,
it's
R3,
clicking. Mhm.
and just the functionality that it added to the controller deeply impacted the way I play games like now, and have been playing ever since I grew up. Because I grew up on the Super Nintendo,
Mhm.
and
Which didn't have
the
it.
standard D-pad,
Mhm.
left and right shoulder buttons, 4-button map out, start and select. There is no reason for us to have analog sticks, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, could you imagine like playing Star Fox like with an analog stick? Now you could change the way he drives, like going left, right, up and down with the left stick,
Mhm.
and then have a right stick aim with the reticle and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I
Rather
mean,
than where you're, yeah, I can see it.
it doesn't really make sense with that sort of ship, because we all kind of know that ships, when they're in the air, they have like
Inverted.
one direction where the
Yeah.
barrel's pointing.
Pointing,
But
yeah.
like, imagine a game that would do something like that.
Yeah.
And you could like aim, and just adds more. I don't want like variety on
Yeah.
how to play the game.
Yeah.
And so that's where I kind of took the question.
No, that worked. That was really cool. It's something I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
It's something deeper. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Ryan? What's changed the way you played games?
I don't know if this is cheating because we were talking about peripherals, but you also mentioned tech. I think online is what changed.
Online-
That's
Oh,
cheating.
That's cheating.
Is that cheating?
Yeah, no, that's huge. No,
No.
honestly,
No,
that's
I don't even know.
Online
that's a part of
gaming
the- I mean,
completely, because I remember a time, my first system was a PlayStation 1. I remember a time where, you know, when I first moved to California, you know, I would have I would go over to my friend's house who had N64, because I didn't have N64 at the time. I eventually got one, but I would go over to his house and we'd play Tony Hawk, and we'd play Jet Force Gemini, and, you know, gaming
Great
from
games.
a social aspect was very much your immediate, like this friend of mine literally lived next door, you know?
yeah, that
So
was the way to play.
so gaming, even as an adult now, for me, is very much a social thing. I will play Final Fantasy 15 by myself, and I will play, you know, Battlefield by myself, but I have so much more of a good time. I have so much fond memories of playing Battlefield 3 with, you know, everybody, and you know, having a PlayStation now, it feels like I can kind of reconnect and play games with my friends again, because everyone jumped ship from Xbox to PlayStation after the 360, and, you know, I was kind of out of the loop on that. So for me, especially because I've, you know, lived in San Francisco for so many years, I don't get to hang out with you guys as much. So for me, gaming is a very social thing. Like, if we weren't doing this podcast, I would use gaming as a way to catch up with you guys, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's definitely what we've been doing ever since you got a PS4. And it was like,
yeah,
you literally have been like, not out of Brian, but you pretty much been out of my life for probably a good 2 years until we started this and you had a PS4. It's like, dude, so much time has gone past, even though we're the type of friends that even if we left for like 10 years and then met back up, it would be like a day hasn't passed.
totally.
Yeah.
But the fact that like gaming, like you said, is such more of a social platform now.
I think it's so powerful.
Nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's so powerful too because a lot of people don't think of video games in that way. They think of it as kind of like lame escapism. You know, like people.
I'd say a lot of older.
I wouldn't even say older people. I would say
would-
people our age do it too. There's been plenty of girls that I've like gone on dates with or something, and I like video games, and they think that's lame or something. You know what I mean? They're like,
that's why you open up with a what kind of dragon?
exactly.
Do you like?
Are you a part of
Weed
the
it
next
out,
girl, or
weed 'em
you're a Alduin kind of girl? You know. What do you think,
Jesus.
Byron? It's just
yeah.
video games are important to me, but not that important to me. But they're such a powerful way to socialize, and I think a lot of people who aren't a part of like who don't play video games or don't derive joy from video games don't understand. Like when I got my PlayStation, in December, my stepdad was watching me play Rocket League and talking to you guys, and he had no clue the amount of strategy that goes into playing video games, especially Rocket League. As we're talking like, okay, fall back, I'll take 2. All right, Brian, you go up, blah, blah, blah. We're just talking all this like stuff. And it blew his mind. He's like, wait, so you're playing online with people, like real people? I was like, yes. He's like, and you're talking to your friends? Yes. And you're talking strategy with your friends over a microphone? Yes. Like, like for us, it's normal,
incredible.
but it blows certain people's minds because it's just not even in their bubble. It's not in their world view. And so I think, I don't care if people, appreciate video games or not, because it's just something that I care about. But that I think it's so powerful because it allows me to keep in contact with my friends and maintain social relationships that I might not other. I mean, my friend Zach, who lives in LA, like we would play Battlefront. We used not as much anymore, but we would play Xbox together. And this person who can't even drive to my house. He lives like in LA. This person who can't even drive to my house knows everything that's going on in my life because we play video games together. And I think that's amazing. I think that's so powerful.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly agree.
Definitely. That's really cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I have to say that like when I posed this question originally in my mind, like I didn't imagine it going the route it's gone, and I'm really happy that it did because this is
What the
really
switch?
What a switch!
What a switch!
So, yeah. So then, for me, like this is gonna obviously feel like
This is the lame answer.
This is the lame answer.
Boo!
Get ready.
I already hate
like,
it.
Weak.
So that's been episode 6.
Byron doesn't need to speak. We don't need more Byron. But yeah, mine's I think a little bit more.
Can I
closer.
guess it?
Yeah, you probably already.
Is
know.
it headphones?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
For the
actually
most
going to
part,
say
yeah.
that, and I was so afraid that you were going to say that. I went with something else, and it forced me to be more
Oh,
creative.
I mean,
You dug your own grave,
Yeah,
Byron.
Yes, Byron.
But more than just simple headphones, Brian. Explain it to us.
No, that was just it. Just
That's it.
No.
Not even like just Sennheiser
Just
Audio
no,
Technica,
like
just like earbuds.
Apple earbuds, not even the
Hey,
earpods. Just like the
audio's
glass
important for
ones.
video games.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
curious what you have to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, so that was one of the biggest things going into gaming for me was, we played a lot of competitive online with some Uncharted and other shooters and things like that. And, I was like, I want to get a little bit better and I want to get, an advantage. And everybody you talked to or heard about on the internet talked about, how sound whoring helped you on like Call of Duty, right? Like I can hear footsteps. I know where people are coming. I'm like, that's kind of cool, but like, how much does that really help? So, back in 2011, I finally bought one of the kind of headphone surround sound mix amp combos from Astro Gaming, and it completely changed everything for me because it was like one of those things where it was like flipping a switch. You're like, there's all this auditory like information that I didn't even know existed in games. Like I wanted to go back and play like single player experiences for all these games. I'm like, oh my god, these games sound fantastic. And then from there going into online and being like, man, I can hear directional audio. I can hear where things are coming from. And not only does that give you such an amazing immersive experience for your single player campaigns, but it makes your online experience, more competitive. Like you can really get into it. And I want to say, that slowly kind of got expanded, as in like I started with an Astro gaming setup, and then I'm like, okay, those are like pretty good parts. I started changing things out and making it better and better. I went from just, a standard pair of over-the-ear headphones with some smaller drivers. I'm trying to think how many millimeters they were. They're not too big. And then, bumping up to some Sennheiser grade audiophile HD 598 or 595, I guess, drivers in their Sennheiser PC360 set of headphones. And then I even added like an external amp because the impedance of the headphone, which Ryan, I think you'll definitely be very familiar with as a term, but it's the amount of power that the headphones require to be powered, how many ohms they have, and having an external amplifier allows my headphones to draw more power and makes it sound much crispier and much louder.
Crunchier.
Crunchy and crispy. So that has to be my choice. And I think for a lot of people, I think this is kind of moving into the segment into the next kind of aspect of it. We can talk about kind of like what things we think are like worth our time and money. So I think right off the bat, we can say that, having the right audio experience, like surround sound physical speakers or like in portable mix amp, like definitely worth to think of people's time and money.
I mean, that's something I could definitely attest to, where I was one of the few naysayers. I'm like, I really don't need anything else to play video games. I just need my TV, and if I want to hear it better, I'll turn it up louder. And I remember Brian was like, but dude, listen to this. And I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, but I really just don't want to pay for anything right now. And when I finally made the jump, I was exactly had that moment where I was like, this sounds like a totally new game. Yeah. Like, the fact that I could hear, like, water running in the background, the way water sounds when I, like, walk onto it, and then walk onto just dry land, and it has, like, a little squishy sound. Yeah, and it's just like, that's what I paid $180 for this headphone for. It was those sounds. Mm-hmm. But no, like, in all honesty, it gave me a competitive advantage where I could hear directional input and know where gunfire is coming from. Like, oh, instead of like just being, oh, that's coming from the left side or the right side, like, oh, that's coming from my 3 o'clock. Oh, mm-hmm. That's coming from my 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And being able to relay that information over using that social aspect like Ryan was talking about. And I remember just recently, I kind of fell back in love with using headphones again because I was playing Doom last year, and for some reason I was like, when I first started, I was kind of, this is cool, I kind of get it. It's nothing I'm gonna just like spend a whole day on. And then I was like, you know what? For some reason I wasn't using my headphones, and I was like, let me pop these on. And when I had like the full setup, I had the headphones cranked up, I could like hear every little detail of like just like blood and guts and like sinew and like all these crazy noises, and hearing the metal in the background just like rocking away. I was like, dude, this game is so much better. Like, I feel so immersed, and that's what it comes down to me for like headphones, was like, this makes the immersive escapism experience, and it takes it to like the 10th degree.
Yeah.
And like, what's up, Brian?
Well, like, as someone, like, I've kind of plugged our native SF thing a couple times on our channel, and I mix the native SF sessions. Again, just for anyone who doesn't know, native SF is a music promotion channel that we record live sessions. So we put a lot of, and I sent you guys, like a new toy that I have for my audio gear that nullifies wind sound. I mean, we really care about sound. And so we do all these mixes to be super nice. And we don't, the true test for someone doing an audio mix is, does it sound good on your phone? Does it sound good on your laptop? And so, everyone who's making these video games is creating these like soundscapes in the understanding that you'll probably just hear it through your TV. But if you can really appreciate what they've done by putting headphones on and or even having a speaker setup, then you will really, really elevate your own experience, with any media. And that kind of leads me to a question for you, Brian or Byron. Have you ever considered getting like a 5.1 surround system for gaming? I mean, is that something because as someone who considers themselves an audio engineer, headphone land is great, but it's never as good as speaker land.
Correct. I would definitely say.
What about La La Land?
No one cares.
Oh, it was a great film. Oh, I liked it.
Golden Globe say otherwise.
Yeah. I would say yes. And one of the big things I stick with the headphone setup with the virtual surround sound. So as everybody who's not familiar with it, these mix amps, what they do is they take a stereo, dual driver headphones and create a algorithm through Dolby headphone technology, and it allows you to simulate surround sound with just stereo headphones. But they're never going to be as good as a physical 5.1 setup. And I would most definitely say that when I have more space, maybe in my own apartment, my own house, I will definitely have the 5.1 system. Mainly for movies. I'd use it for campaign experiences on games. But actually, I would say the virtual surround sound headphones are better for competitive because the headphones are closer to your ears. You can hear things much louder, much more, closer than if you had the 5.1 system, because you'd have to dial the 5.1 system like perfectly just to hear like the really subtle things.
Also, if you have a big room, it's like, where the hell? I thought like I could hear you in my headphones, but like the fact that my speaker is like 10 feet behind me, and like I can't hear that subtlety of it.
Yeah, so I think there's advantages for both, but to answer your question, I think yes, definitely I want a 5.1 physical system.
Because obviously speakers are going to give you such I think you're underestimating speakers, actually, because, as someone who's like mixed like audio in headphones and then having like a speaker set up in front of me, there's such an amazing sense of space that you get from real speakers.
Oh,
that you can't replicate through headphones. And I would love to be there when you find that space and set it up to experience it, because I'm sure it is incredible. Because
correct,
yeah, people put so much love and care into this, and there's whole departments of people in these video game companies that are dedicated to making this like the most amazing possible experience that you can have. So not many people will really appreciate it for what it is, but the information's there if you have the right setup, for sure. So it's definitely something worth experiencing at some point if you can.
Sure, I agree. Okay, well, I want to say then that I think our recommendation we can all agree on is that, like, if you had to when you're getting into gaming, the one thing you should spend your money on first would probably be like a better sound setup, whether that be external speakers or even like a PlayStation or like Gold headset. They're cheap. They can get you surround sound. They're really good.
Keep in mind, speakers will always be a much heavier investment than headphones. Yeah,
correct. And that'll take time.
Yeah,
it's baby steps. Start with headphones, then go to speakers.
Yeah. And then I would say I think we can agree that like display technology would be like the next thing to look into. If you haven't gone to like HD yet, like 1080p full HD, then that should be a very important thing.
And if you can afford it,
4K gaming isn't. Yeah, if you can afford it and you have the right setup, 4K gaming is going to be the next step. But I don't think the jump from 1080p to 4K will give you a competitive advantage just yet.
It's also not really practical right now. It's
correct.
You get a lot of upsampling. Not many things are actual true 4K. Yeah, is Final Fantasy 15 true 4K once you go to the ultra high settings?
No, they checkerboard that.
It's upscaled.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's honestly probably another 2 years away.
Tomb Raider might be though, right? Tomb Raider?
Not Rise.
No,
like Skyrim is though, and like other games.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that 4K because they're older. But then that would probably be next, and then of course like all the other accessories.
If you invest in a right thumbstick, if your controller doesn't have it for some reason,
make sure you have online.
Make sure you have one.
Yep, make sure you have one. Hopefully your controller comes with that.
The analog sticks and online are probably like they go before any of our recommendations. Like if you don't have that yet, I think that you should have it.
If for anything before that, you might want to pay your electric bill, because if you don't,
make sure you buy the console first.
Yeah, and have a place to play.
Plug it into your local McDonald's.
No, a tree will suffice. But yeah, and then like other smaller things are not as important, but do help, like modded controllers, like the Scuff gaming controllers with the paddles and extra buttons and extended analog stick attachments. All those things are kind of like hit or miss for people. Like, some will swear by them, others people will say like, oh yeah, having this analog stick on, extender, like my KD for Call of Duty went up like twofold, and other people are like, it's
we've
not that
had so many back and forth.
We've had discussions on
that specific subject. We'll bring that up.
We'll bring it up another time. But yeah, it's more opinion. So, but definitely display technology, surround sound, and of course, the analog stick, electric
in the
bill,
comments
and
in the comments below, we'll leave links to how to be a pro Genji, and
yes,
just follow that.
All the things you need. But yeah, so let us know what you think in the comments are for things that changed the way you guys played games. We'd love to hear them. And that's going to end our Talk Nerdy to Me segment.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 6 of Whatispodcast. If you didn't know, this show was available for you to download every Tuesday by 11 a.m. on iTunes. Just search all one word, Whatispodcast. And once you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share this episode with friends, and please, please, please rate us. It would be a huge help to us to get us out there. If you want to be part of the show, don't forget to leave your topic in the comment section below on our Facebook page or in our Facebook page. If you want to get more of us outside of this, don't forget you can check out my YouTube and Twitch page. That's CrabBPatty, KRAB_B_PATTY. Ryan, I know you have some more stuff to pimp out.
Yeah, Native SF, like I was mentioning earlier in the show, if you like music, local music, Native SF, Instagram, Facebook, website coming soon. Check it out. We got a lot of cool stuff. We put a lot of awesome content. So if that's what you're into, you're going to love it.
Yeah, and as always, Brian is unavailable.
Byron
is probably more available. You could get Byron on Tinder.
Oh yeah, Byron's got everything.
Byron's got Tinder. He has Facebook, Bumble, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, it's been another great week. Hope to see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Wait, I have a question, Patrick.
What's up?
Brian went to the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
He went to the bathroom, like right now?
Yeah.
So did I.
Oh, okay. So I was just talking to no one.
Well, basically, but I muted my phone. I was like, how did he know?
Yeah.
I was like freaked out. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's
funny.
Hilarious. I
seriously,
so both of y'all motherfuckers left me to go to the bathroom. I'm going to the goddamn bathroom.
Dude, I was so freaked out. I was like, how did he know?
Oh, man, I can't wait to put this at the end of the fucking episode.
Oh, God.
This is ridiculous. Byron is trying to sneak out of the garage.
Sneak away.
He's like, I'm going to try to go to the bathroom. I'm going to try to go to the bathroom. I was like, all right, just leave, dude. You're making it more awkward. So he's like slowly pushing the door, and he's not going anywhere. I'm just like in the middle of it. I was like, Brian, just open the goddamn door and go pee. This show is not professional in any way anyways. So let's just let the people know what's happening.